You know, I don't want to feel like this video is meant to pander to anybody, but I had to do it because there are way too many stories about threats and violence against Republicans right now. And look, I just got to be real. When I do a Google search, I don't see stories about Republicans beating up, threatening, and attacking the left. There are high-profile incidents we've talked about over the past year, couple years, where we've seen stuff have happened, but it seems like more and more of the common trope is that the left threatens the right. And we've got a ton of stories. I'm going to do a quick run-through for you. We got Democratic Socialist threatens mass shooting at Trump Hotel. I've got some scrutiny for this story, but we'll come back to it. Wyoming GOP office set on fire. This is last week. A conservative woman, a pro-life woman, was forced into hiding. Maybe that's a little strong. It says threats of rape and strangling forced McAllister into hiding after anti-abortion tweet. Might be a little, these are biased sources, don't get me wrong. We have Castro Valley man accused of switchblade assault on GOP candidate. And I think that might be it. Maybe there's another one. Nope, okay, that's it. Don't mind the Soviet Union story. That was something else from yesterday. I did a video about it. So first, let's look at this first story. Democratic Socialist threatens mass shooting at Trump Hotel. An anonymous Twitter user with an account dedicated to promoting the Democratic Socialists has threatened a mass shooting at Tuesday evening's MAGA meetup at a Trump hotel. This was just last night. The threat was directed at this writer and stated that they are coming with a gun and that they expect to get numerous bloodstained MAGA hats as trophies along with a photo of a gun. The monthly networking meetup will be a mix of several different pro-Trump groups, including Virginia Women for Trump, members of the media, midterm candidates, and people who work closely with the president are often in attendance at these events. Cassandra tweeted, full disclosure, I know Cassandra, we're good friends. Who is going to the MAGA meetup tonight? Dream Star Justice tweeted that they are coming with a gun and expect to get numerous bloodstained MAGA hats with a photo of a gun. The DC Police Department and FBI were alerted to the threat and are currently at Trump Hotel speaking to the security team. A manager at the hotel said that they are aware of the threat and have all measures in place. Apparently, this user changed their name and then deleted their account because what they did is extremely illegal, and I hope the threat is a BS threat because even if, look, if this person really meant to threaten and go out and commit this act, they need to be stopped before something like that can happen. You know, and if they didn't get caught, they may still have those intentions. So this is quite concerning. Now, my concern here is whether or not this is actually a Democratic Socialist. Look, just because we have to be careful, but right now we're going to lean towards the side of this was a Democratic Socialist for one reason. We don't really have anything else to go on, and the likelihood that this was a false flag attack is lower than it's just someone who is a Democratic Socialist. I believe it is much more likely the account promoting Democratic Socialism is an individual who likes it, as opposed to the idea that it's a provocateur pretending to be DSA, which is what some people have suggested. However, nothing's definitive. I don't know if we can say it was a Democratic Socialist, so it is what it is, but we got another story here. Wyoming, a Republican Party office in Wyoming was set on fire 2 days after opening, and police believe it was intentional. A GOP office was burned down, was set on fire. I don't know if it was burned down totally, but it was set on fire in Laramie, Wyoming. Caught fire early Thursday morning. This is last week. The fire appears to have been set intentionally. Laramie Police Department spokesman Steve Morgan told the Daily Caller News Foundation. The local police department is cooperating with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms in the ongoing investigation. Morgan said, adding that authorities have not yet identified a suspect or a motive for the fire. I think we can understand why someone would intentionally burn down or start a fire at a Republican office. Things are getting really crazy, okay? I've tried explaining this to people. I have emergency food. I literally have emergency food. And look, the TV makes preppers seem crazy. Yeah, some of them may be. But I think you would be crazy to be more concerned about being embarrassed than to actually have emergency supplies, like a bug-out bag, some emergency water, emergency food. You've got a first aid kit, right? How often do you use it? Yes, get a long shelf life food supply kit, put it in your basement, because we're looking at insanity, okay? Now, just because we're seeing these stories doesn't mean it's worse than it's ever been. I don't know if it's worse than it's ever been, but if we're going to see people threatening mass shootings at clubs because people support Trump, people pulling switchblades, people setting fire to Republican offices, I think it's fair to say that there's at least some crazy stuff going on. And then we have this. This woman is pro-life, and she tweeted, "At the root of abortion hysteria is women's unhinged desire for irresponsible sex. Sex is their god. Abortion is their sacrament. It's abhorrent as women have flung themselves from the heights of being the world's civilizing force to the muck and mire of dehumanizing depravity. This is an opinion that I think is hyperbolic. That's about it. It's not the craziest thing I've ever heard. It's just another pro-life person talking about religion and how they feel. Okay, agree to disagree. I think you're wrong, but I want to make sure we can live together peacefully. So you believe what you want, I'll believe what I want, and I'm going to advocate for what I want. You do you. Okay, end of story. That's what politics should be, right? Well, that's not what happened, because apparently, she said, I am facing legit death and rape threats because I have dared to call out women who are hysterical about abortion and challenge them to be responsible and not to elevate sex to the point that they're willing to kill human life to avoid their responsibilities. How sick is that? Well, here's what happens. She started getting people saying, like, people don't react well to your extremism. I'm sorry. Being an asshole does not warrant anyone threatening your life. What happened to don't blame the victim? She can say whatever she wants, right? In the context of what's legal. Sending someone threats of violence and criminal activity is not legal. It's not free speech. Slandering people is not free speech. These things are not protected. You can sue for them. People get arrested for them. Attacking a woman for having opinions you don't like is insane. You know what I would do? I have no problem responding to this. I'd respond with, you're wrong. or better yet, I disagree. I think this is hyperbolic, and I think we can do better by having a calm discussion. That's probably how I would respond. And that's not how people responded. They responded by threatening her. She said, these threats aren't lame Twitter threats. Anyone who says we're not in a culture war is deluded. It's important for us to have each other's backs. Yep, well, she's in one of the tribes, but she didn't do anything to warrant what people are, threatening. And she pulled out, she said, due to threats against my life, my family is asking that I stay off social media until the situation is resolved. I don't want to, but I need to respect their wishes at this time. I hope to return, keep up the good fight. And there's more. And there's more. Because we have this story. And actually, I had other stories. I closed them because I'm like, I got too many, all right? Castro Valley man accused of switchblade assault on GOP congressional candidate. A man was arrested on suspicion of felony assault and other charges after allegedly attempting to stab a Republican congressional candidate with a switchblade over the weekend in Castro Valley, according to the Alameda County Sheriff's Office. On Sunday, September 9th, at approximately 3:45 p.m., deputies working at the Castro Valley Fall Festival were alerted to a possible knife attack. Apparently, the dude pulled out, I don't know where it says this, but the story I read, he pulled out a switchblade and attempted to stab Peters, but the knife malfunctioned, and the candidate became involved in a physical struggle with Fazeli. This Fazeli is the guy who pulled the knife. The suspect then fled the scene, but was detained a short time later by deputies and was found in possession of a switchblade knife, Kelly said. Fazeli was arrested for felony assault, criminal threats, brandishing a weapon, and possession of a switchblade knife, and booked into Santa Rita jail. Peters wasn't injured. Peters wasn't injured. Fazeli, who lists his occupation as cashier, was booked into Santa Rita jail in Dublin on suspicion of felony assault, criminal threats, brandishing a weapon, and possession of a switchblade knife. I could be wrong, but I distinctly remember there was a moment where someone at a Trump rally tried grabbing a gun from a cop. Okay, things have been really crazy lately. There's a lot of far-left violence. You've got legitimate mainstream voices in well-funded media companies advocating for street violence, defending street violence. You have media companies defending Antifa, beating progressives, okay? When they defend Antifa, and they run defense, I think running defense is a better way to phrase it, because they'll say things like, oh, but Antifa's only attacking this kind of, only Nazis. Right. The progressive Bernie voter who got clubbed over the back of the head in Portland was not a Nazi, okay? The dude who got clubbed over the head with a bike lock was not a Nazi. But what they do is they'll point the finger and accuse someone of being a Nazi, and then the mainstream, left and media start screaming punch Nazis, and they open the gates for this kind of stuff. A GOP candidate, he said, he would have stabbed me, Peter said. I mean, he had it out saying, I am going to kill you, MFer, I'm going to kill you. I could see his thumb trying to get the knife out. He said the encounter started with verbal threats. He picks up a coffee cup to rear back and throw it at us, and I jumped around the table. He throws the coffee cup and misses. It hits the ground and breaks, remembers Peters. So I come out and grab him and wrestle with him and throw him to the ground. He said that was when Fazeli pulled out the knife. He's screaming, I'll kill you, MFer, I'll kill you, I'll kill you. And he's kind of circling me trying to get the knife out. Fazeli made the first court appearance Tuesday for possession of a switchblade and threatening to commit great bodily injury or death, but Fazeli's mother and attorney says he is the victim. My client at this point was afraid for his life and afraid for his health and safety, and I believe that it is alleged that he pulled out a folded knife. The knife was never opened, argued defense attorney Frederick Rammer. Fazeli's mother, Dolly Adams, was at the festival at the Democratic booth. Mr. Peters got physical first. While she said she didn't see what happened during the altercation, she talked to her son before he was arrested. He said that Mr. Peters has taken him by his shoulders and shoved him to the ground, and there was blood on him and blood on his booth. So, here's what we know. Dude pulled a knife. You want to accuse Peters of starting the fight, by all means go and do it, but you're the one who pulled the knife. And the story here from KPIX CBS, San Francisco Bay Area, is Castro Valley man accused of switchblade assault on GOP congressional candidate. So is it possible that Peters started the fight? Yeah, maybe it is. But that's not the story we're focusing on because that's not the way it went down. Maybe he did, but who pulled the knife out? Who threatened to kill the other guy who got arrested for it? I'm not surprised the dude who pulled out a knife and got arrested is trying to blame the dude that he threatened to kill. Plain and simple. This guy, okay, exclude the fight. Take the fight out of it. This dude threatened to kill a politician. All right, so, you know, you do a Google search for me and you find me stories of people on the right hunting down people on the left, pulling out knives and threatening to kill them, by all means, we'll talk about it. It's not like it doesn't happen, but I swear, like, you do a Google search, this is what comes up. You know? Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Stick around. I got another, no more videos. I'm done for the day. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the main channel.